This chapter in our story has been a long time coming. I hope you're all ready for it. The previous 2 chapters can be found on our channel, and I'll leave a link to them somewhere so that you can view them at your leisure. I don't plan to get long-winded for our opening narration today. I'm just too darn excited about getting into this. For those who don't wish to be spoiled on the previous parts, we'll give you the time to view the previous videos by saying, "Welcome to the Amagi." Before we begin, we publish a new video every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Now, we've noticed that a lot of the folks viewing our videos aren't necessarily subscribed to the channel. YouTube does do a very good job at getting the right videos to the right people, but if you want to make sure that you don't miss another video like this, and if you want to support the Amagi, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much. The Amagi's reach stretches beyond just this channel, so if you're a fan of us, please consider subscribing to our other channels and following us on all of our social media. Help us reach our goal of passing 100,000 followers on all of our accounts by the end of the year. Now, a quick recap for those who have seen the previous 2 videos but need a little reminder. Jiraiya, a good Orochimaru, and a still-in-town Tsunade meet to discuss Jiraiya's plans to train the Child of Prophecy. This goes in their favor as Team 7 are then assigned to the Sannin with orders to protect them. Jiraiya decides to knock out 2 birds with 1 stone and offers to teach them while they offer protection. Jiraiya focuses on teaching Naruto as Orochimaru teaches Sasuke. Tsunade teaches Sakura. During this time, the Chunin exams are happening, and the Sannin are teaching quick yet potent techniques to them to aid in their upcoming battles. Naruto learns the Rasengan, of course, while Sasuke learns to utilize Killing Intent. He uses it too well and accidentally gives Gaara a mental breakdown which releases the One Tail. Suna launches a secret strike on Konoha, but they're driven back and defeated, and Gaara is captured. After this, the Sannin decide to take Naruto out of the village along with Team 7 and teach them the best they can. For 3 years, the Sannin teach their respective students, alternating every so often so that each student gets a chance to train with each mentor. After 3 years, they return. Naruto has a grasp on various jutsu thanks to Orochimaru, has pretty good control of his tailed beast thanks to Jiraiya, and has strength of body as well as emotional control from Tsunade. Sasuke knows forbidden techniques as well as the curse mark from Orochimaru, learned the Rasengan from Jiraiya, and possesses increased physical strength from Tsunade. Sakura is pretty well leveled out due to her particular strengths. Due to studying under Tsunade primarily, her physical strength surpasses or at least equals Naruto and Sasuke's. Beyond this, she is a skilled medical nin and possesses confidence in herself. She learned all manner of kinjutsu from Orochimaru, her mind easily picking up what he was laying down in a way even Sasuke had an issue with. She also gains use of the Rasengan and even Sage Mode from Jiraiya. It's my personal opinion that Sakura has become the strongest at the end of their training, but will she remain this way for long? After returning to Konoha, they're tasked with protecting a reformed Gaara, only for him to be kidnapped by the Akatsuki. During this time, Hiruzen perishes from illness and passes the title of 5th Hokage to Orochimaru, who had shown much character growth. During the attempt to kidnap Gaara, Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke manage to fight and kill 3 Akatsuki members, consisting of Deidara, Sasori, and Kakazu. They also manage to capture Hidan. However, Itachi takes Gaara and refuses to give him back unless Sasuke faces him at the old Uchiha hideout. Sasuke agrees and proceeds to fight Itachi at said location. Sasuke's brute strength and skills surprises Itachi, but even this cannot get through Itachi's absolute defense, which his Susanoo is now considered. Itachi, however, drains himself of strength and succumbs to his illness, which both makes Sasuke ecstatic and somehow sorrowful. It is revealed by Tobi that the Hidden Leaf had the Uchiha killed. Sasuke doesn't quite believe this, so he takes Gaara and returns to Konoha with him, but upon returning to his home, Sasuke is attacked by the Anbu, proving Tobi was right. Sasuke then leaves the village in hopes of seeking revenge against them, and now we're back to the current moment and the start of this chapter. The flames during the night had not been noticed until it was too late. The flames were black and did not give off much light. It was actually the sight of smoke and the smell of burning that gave away the fire. By this time, the fire had spread to the surrounding buildings. An entire block of the village was going up in flames and threatening to engulf the entire village. Acting fast, Orochimaru commanded that a squad of shinobi that specialized in barriers throw up a barrier around the affected area, as water seemed not to help, but actually made the flames worse. This was a highly unusual thing and screamed to Orochimaru to have been some sort of strange technique. Was this intentional? Was the village under attack? The flames continued to burn well into the next day, but thankfully the barriers managed to hold off the flames. Eventually the fire burned out and nothing was left. There was nothing left to burn. Walking through the rubble, he found it to be a tragic sight. Only charred outlines where buildings used to be. People were searching through their belongings. There were people who had gone missing. Last seen within the buildings, some had heard screams coming from them, but as the buildings were checked, no bodies were found. For the loved ones of the missing people, this offered hope. Perhaps they escaped. Orochimaru hoped it was true, but deep in his heart he knew better. Seeing how all the buildings had burned to ash, it was more than likely that nothing remained to find, and this wasn't out of the question. The barrier that had gone up served a dual purpose. It protected the outside, but the inside basically turned into an oven. Anyone within would have been cooked even if the flames hadn't touched them, and that was the tragedy. Walking closer to where the flames were reported to have started, Orochimaru witnessed an apartment building, and on the ground outside of the building he found a scorch mark in the shape of a human silhouette. He knew what that meant. He kept moving until the place where the fire had started came into view. The Anbu were already there, looking through the remains and ashes. Danzo Shimura was there, standing about 5 feet away from the operation. It eventually clicked with Orochimaru where he was. This building had been the site of Sasuke's apartment. "What happened here?" Orochimaru asked Danzo. Danzo turned and looked at Orochimaru. "It seems that the flames were caused by a certain ninjutsu, possibly a kinjutsu," Danzo stated. Orochimaru sighed as he feared that this was somehow caused by his own teachings. But this fear was slightly alleviated by what Danzo said next. "This isn't an unknown technique. It appears to be Amaterasu. It happens to be the technique Itachi possessed in his Mangekyo Sharingan." Orochimaru felt a sense of relief. "But wasn't Itachi killed by Sasuke?" Danzo nodded. "We even recovered the body. Itachi is dead." "Then how did this technique occur?" Orochimaru asked. "There are 2 possibilities. The first has to do with the state in which we found Itachi's body. When we recovered it, Itachi no longer had any eyes, which leads us to believe someone, likely Sasuke, took his Mangekyo Sharingan. If so, it's possible that the technique transferred. The second theory is that Sasuke, due to his genetic bond with Itachi, just so happened to develop the same ability as his brother. Either way, this likely means the culprit was Sasuke Uchiha." Orochimaru seemed a bit anxious by this time. Once more, feelings of guilt welled up inside of him. Sasuke was his student, and he had let this happen. "Why would Sasuke do this?" Danzo shook his head. "It's possible Sasuke's gone rogue. What do you know of the Uchiha massacre?" Orochimaru shrugged. "Very little." Danzo nodded. "As you should. It wasn't a decision made lightly." Orochimaru's eyes widened. "Wait, decision? It was an operation that Itachi carried out, under orders by Konoha's leadership. He then joined the Akatsuki to work as our deep cover operative within it. He was sending us information. Everything we know on the Akatsuki comes from him, but it seems he went rogue truly. He likely exposed Konoha's involvement to Sasuke, and Sasuke's hatred has been turned on Konoha. What we're witnessing may be a declaration of war by Sasuke, and it may be a message that tells us his intent." Orochimaru had not yet read through the classified operations history. He was surprised by all of this. Danzo turned to face Orochimaru completely. "Sasuke is at fault for this. You must put a bounty on him immediately. He must be brought to justice for his crimes." "And what of our crimes?" Orochimaru asked. "What of the mistakes we've made? The sins we've committed against him and his clan?" "Irrelevant," Danzo said simply. "We act to protect this village, no matter what, or from who. The Uchiha were a threat, so we put them down. Now Sasuke is a threat, and he also must be put down. A hard choice indeed, especially as a master. But as the 5th Hokage, it is your duty. Fulfill it." Elsewhere, Sasuke was laying down, wrappings around his head covering his eyes. After Itachi's death, Obito had harvested his Sharingan. Currently, those Sharingan were implanted into the head of Sasuke Uchiha, and he was healing. At first, Sasuke had not considered this at all. He didn't know why he was doing this. It was only then that Obito explained what happened when 2 brothers bearing the Mangekyo Sharingan swapped eyes. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, a dojutsu achieved only once in recorded history by a man named Madara Uchiha. These dojutsu are stronger than the regular Mangekyo, and they will never lose their light. You will never find yourself blinded from use of these. A little piece of Itachi for you to carry with you wherever you might go. Use it to destroy Konoha. Use the eternal black flames that you and your brother share to cleanse the village of the corruption at its heart." Sasuke laid there and listened. He already had his goals in mind, the retribution he would bring. He was focusing it. He remembered Orochimaru's teachings. The black flames of his hatred were hot and could burn anything within the line of his sight, but he required focus. It was as if those teachings had become one with him. With his ability, Amaterasu, as well as Kakatsuchi, those teachings had become literal. His hatred had taken form. But due to Orochimaru's training, he had learned to focus and control it. That was what Kakatsuchi represented to him. Due to these, Sasuke had already decided within him that he would not kill the innocent unless they attempted to stop him from achieving justice. Then he would hold them in contempt and would offer them the same fate. He only had 3 targets on his list: Hamura Mitokado, Koharu Utatane, and Danzo Shimura. These 3 must die. If they were sacrificed, he would be pleased, and he would feel his hatred and lust for revenge slaked. Sasuke sat up. I have my goals in mind, and I will complete them. You've done your work, now leave me be. Obito stood there silently. He then spoke. You seriously believe you'll be able to bring down the entire village on your own? Sasuke shook his head. I do not know, but regardless, I do not plan to. I don't need to destroy the village, only the council. I know the shinobi there. I have friends there, and my mentor is now Hokage. I trust his judgment. The village does not need to be destroyed, only the corruption. And that is what these new eyes will do and will see. After all, that was Itachi's goal all along, to save and preserve the village and remove threats to it. And right now, the biggest threat is the council. Obito sighed. If that is your wish. Sasuke stood and momentarily placed his hands over his eyes. He then removed the bandages. Obito tried to stop him, but Sasuke silenced him with a stare. I was taught basic first aid by Tsunade. I learned further how to heal various wounds with ease via the Mystic Palm. I've healed my own eyes. I don't need these bandages anymore. He tossed them to the side. He then began to leave. As he did, Black Zetsu rose from the cracks. You should have heeded my warning. He is as stubborn as ever. He will not fall for our tricks. He'll soon become a dangerous enemy. You should consider killing him now while you have the chance, and claiming his Eternal Mangekyou to use for later. Tobi stroked the chin of his mask as Zetsu spoke. Perhaps. They sat silently as Orochimaru explained everything to them. Orochimaru had invited Jiraiya, Tsunade, Sakura, and Naruto to lunch and was currently explaining everything. He even presented the classified case file for the Uchiha downfall. And yes, he could share it with them even if they were genin. He was Hokage, and that meant he could do whatever he wanted with this information, including declassify it to specific parties. That's horrible, Jiraiya said as he looked through the case. Tsunade thought about it. But it was to protect the village, wasn't it? Naruto's hand slammed down on the table. No, I refuse to believe that there was no other way. Tsunade looked to her student. Remember your control, Naruto. Naruto took a deep breath and sighed. You're right. I'm just very high-strung right now. Tsunade couldn't say she didn't understand. She too was high-strung. It's okay. Just remember, your emotions can be your strength, but only so long as you control them, and not vice versa. Sakura spoke. Was there any attempt to put it down peacefully? Orochimaru looked at the file. There is no record of previous attempts to do this, but what is strange is that this case file states that it was supposed to be the Anbu who put down the uprising, not Itachi. And the timeline, it's all wrong. There wasn't even supposed to be a massacre. It was planned to be a suppression of insurrection that should have stopped as soon as the Uchiha's ability to resist was neutralized. Sounds like something in the plan went wrong, Jiraiya stated. Orochimaru stood and turned to look out the window. Something about this feels wrong. Konoha's official plan and Konoha's actions during that night make no sense. Itachi wasn't even supposed to be in the squad, let alone the one to destroy everything. Perhaps it's a cover-up, Tsunade asked. Orochimaru shook his head. No, I almost feel it was a conspiracy. Danzo all but confirmed that Itachi was working under the Anbu's orders, but the Anbu did not receive any such orders from Konoha leadership, not from Hiruzen anyway. Then who do you think is at fault? Naruto asked. Orochimaru thought about it for a moment. Good chances point to Danzo. The paper trail doesn't connect very well, but it's known that the day after the incident, Danzo's root division was shut down. I don't know for certain, but I'm pretty sure that complete genocide is a human rights violation, Jiraiya said. Orochimaru looked back at him for a moment before looking back out the window. It is, at least here in Konoha. The total eradication of the Uchiha clan would not sit well with the rest. No doubt they attempted to cover it up with Itachi. So then, what do we do about it? Jiraiya asked. Orochimaru thought. I'm not sure. If we tell the people about what happened with the Uchiha, we could have a revolt on our hands. Other clans would lose faith in us, and we would be left wide open. Naruto thought for a second. So, if Sasuke truly is trying to destroy Konoha, what do we do about it? Jiraiya interjected, "It's possible that Sasuke isn't trying to destroy Konoha." All eyes turned to Jiraiya. He scratched his chin and opened one eye to look at Naruto and Sakura, each who were waiting on his word to give them hope. He continued, "Sasuke may not be trying to destroy Konoha. He may very well be on the run. For all we know, it was Danzo who set that fire in an attempt to kill Sasuke and blame it on a Kinjutsu gone wrong. He may be trying to simply silence Sasuke since he was the last one to speak with Itachi. Maybe Itachi told him the truth. Maybe he discovered it on his own. Maybe Danzo just doesn't want to risk any loose ends. I find it highly suspect that Danzo just knows that Sasuke didn't die in the fire and is on the lam." Naruto stood once more. "That's right. That has to be right. Sasuke would never try to destroy the village. He's loyal. He's a friend and he loves us way too much to hurt us." Orochimaru turned to look back out the window. He knew that wasn't true. If Sasuke determined that he had been slighted, he would seek revenge. That was the very basis of who he was. His entire personality for years was centered on his vendetta against his brother. If his brother was also a victim and Sasuke knew that, then whoever was responsible might as well kiss their ass goodbye. All the while, Tsunade looked to Orochimaru and noted that the same was true from her standpoint. She knew how far he was willing to go for revenge, and she hated to think what he had become now. "So, what do we do then?" Sakura asked. "Sasuke's being hunted, and if we don't do something, they're going to kill him. And if we bring him back to the village, they'll kill him. Our chances of finding Sasuke and bringing him back alive are slim." Orochimaru thought on this. "I'll halt the order for execution. If found, teams must bring him back alive. I'll use the question of innocence as a reason." Jiraiya looked to Orochimaru. "If you do that, Danzo will know you're onto him. He won't let it stand." Orochimaru looked back. "He'll have to. I'm the Hokage. His power is derived from me. I could and should have him arrested for treason. But what?" Tsunade asked. Orochimaru took a deep breath. "I fear he'll bring the village down if I try. He possesses the ultimate reverse card on us. Intelligence." And so the order to kill was put on hold for a time. Sasuke was to be brought in alive. Danzo of course realized this and knew what Orochimaru was planning to do. He would smile. He put together a dossier of the many things Orochimaru had did that Hiruzen had covered up, the human experimentation being one of them. He didn't need to bring down Konoha, he just needed to bring down its Hokage. If he brought down Orochimaru, Danzo's place as Hokage would be all but assured. But as it stood, he didn't think he needed to bring Orochimaru down, merely bend him to his will. Danzo could do so much more from the shadows outside of public view, and with this dossier he could have access to anything that the Hokage did. In essence, Danzo was the Hokage. He was merely ruling from the shadows. This was irksome to him as he truly desired to be remembered as Hokage, but then again, no Kage could have as much power and influence as Danzo did. Team 7, or what remained of it, was busy on the hunt for Sasuke. Given their connection to the Hokage, they had the best resources possible, and Orochimaru would even have the hunt sabotaged at times just so he could ensure that if anyone found Sasuke, it would be Team 7 or the other members of the Sannin. But eventually, he found himself being sabotaged as the Anbu was beginning to present him false information, intending to throw him off the scent while simultaneously sending out-of-uniform shinobi and hiring out mercenaries and assassins to bring Sasuke down. But by sheer luck, something cropped up. A strange rumor. He overheard it while walking down the road one day that Naruto had been seen in a store buying more ramen and things of a similar order. This wouldn't be that strange at all, as Naruto often bought ramen, but the difference was that it stated that he had bought ramen earlier that afternoon, which should be impossible. Orochimaru had sent him out of the village to search for Sasuke days earlier, and so during the night, Orochimaru decided to try something himself. He removed his Hokage clothes and replaced them with something darker and not quite as conspicuous. He left the residence and entered the shadows of the alleyway and began to make his way through the village. Eventually, he came to a stop outside of the Uchiha clan compound. Illuminated only by the moon, his path made clear by the glowing light from the heavens above, Orochimaru made his way deeper into the compound. If the rumor he heard earlier was true, then someone wanted to keep their identity hidden using Naruto as a guise. And whoever was doing this was doing it only to gather supplies. Whoever it was did not want anyone to know they were in the village. The only place in the village that was abandoned was the Uchiha clan compound, so he decided to come out here and check it. He eventually saw the former home of Fugaku Uchiha. He looked at it for a time and thought he saw a shadow moving from one side of the upper floor to the next. Orochimaru was certain that this had to be Sasuke, but on the off chance that it was someone else, he needed to be prepared. He pulled a kunai and slowly made his way to the building. Stepping in, he could smell the ramen cooking. He made his way upstairs, each step carefully planned, each step taken at just the right pace to keep it from squeaking. Once he made it to the top, he began to make his way toward the only room where light escaped. He peeked in and saw nothing. Suddenly, an arm wrapped around his neck and a kunai is pulled to his throat. "How did you?" "A tripwire. Your age is catching up with you, master." Orochimaru took a deep breath and threw his kunai on the floor before removing his shuriken pouch entirely. "I didn't come to fight, just to talk." Sasuke would let his mentor go. He would step inside where water was boiling. It seemed that he was living straight from this room. It made sense. It was mostly protected and light couldn't escape. No one could see in or out, and by the looks of it, everything he needed was here. He was well prepared for anything. "What are you doing here?" Sasuke asked. Orochimaru sat down. "I came looking for you." "So it's true. You really wish to destroy Konoha?" Sasuke thought for a moment. "I want to destroy a version of Konoha. The secret Konoha. The one no one sees. The corrupt one." Orochimaru nodded. "Yes, I think I know the one you mean." Sasuke sat there. "I don't want to hurt you, or Naruto, or Sakura, or anyone else in the village. I just want to destroy 3 people. Give me their lives and I'll leave you in peace." Orochimaru sighed. "If you do that, you can never show your face around Konoha again. Are you sure you want to do that?" Sasuke nodded. "If that's what it takes, I can start a clan anywhere." Orochimaru shakes his head. "You have a price on your head, Sasuke, and if you kill the elders, that price will go up. Nowhere will be safe. You'll never be able to restart your clan." Sasuke looked to Orochimaru. "What other choice do I have? I must avenge my brother." Orochimaru thought for a moment. "Do you remember what I told you when I taught you to utilize killing intent? Your hatred is like an eternal black flame. It burns everything in your path. But there may be something in your path you wish to preserve, so you need control. Right now is that moment. If you wish for justice for your clan, I'll help you get it. But you need to turn yourself in. I'll protect you. We'll prove you didn't betray Konoha." Sasuke looked up at him. "And how do you plan to do that?" "I'll have Danzo and the other council members removed from their posts, forced into retirement. I'll have them replaced by people we can trust. Tsunade and Jiraiya. They can fulfill those roles." Sasuke shook his head. "A cushy golden parachute is not my idea of revenge. They need to pay for what they did." Orochimaru thinks about it. "How about we bring you in?" Another voice spoke, cutting Orochimaru off. Sasuke stood and utilized Amaterasu's black flames on Danzo. Danzo burned, but in a moment he appeared elsewhere. "What a poor choice." He snapped his fingers, and suddenly many Anbu operatives breached the room and took Sasuke. Orochimaru stood. "Now wait a minute. I found him first. I demand that he be turned over to me." Danzo offered a sly smile before providing Orochimaru with a manila envelope. Orochimaru opened it and looked in at the contents. He looked up at Danzo, whose smile was growing wider. "Checkmate, Lord Fifth. The boy comes with me, and he will soon disappear. He'll never be heard from again. All you have to do is sit back and let it happen, just like Hiruzen. Let me do my job, which is to say, let me make all of your problems go away." Danzo turned and began to leave without another word. Team 7 eventually returned to Konoha. It was late at night and they were ready to get home and rest, but before they could, they were summoned by Orochimaru on urgent business. They would make their way to the Hokage's residence where Orochimaru was waiting. "What is it, Sneaky Sensei?" Naruto asked. Orochimaru sat at his desk grimly. "We've located Sasuke, but he's currently under Anbu care." Sakura stepped forward, a concerned expression on her face. "But we have to get him back. We can't let Danzo do whatever he wants." Orochimaru shook his head. "I would have ordered he give him back, but Danzo has dirt on me, and if he leaks that, my time as Hokage will come to an end. All of the power I could use to defend Sasuke will be gone. I can't do anything." Naruto stood there. "Then what do we do? Are you telling us that we can't save Sasuke?" Orochimaru shook his head. "No, there is one chance, but it'll have to be you. I need to know, what are you willing to do to save Sasuke?" Naruto and Sakura both in unison spoke. "Anything." Orochimaru nodded. He pulled out a map. "My sources tell me that Sasuke is being held at this secret facility here." He pointed to a place on the map just beyond the village proper. "If you hurry up, you may be able to save Sasuke before they have him executed. I just pray that we're not too late." Naruto and Sakura nodded. They took the map. "We won't fail you. We won't fail Sasuke." They left. Tsunade sat on the desk as Jiraiya took a seat. "Are we really gonna let those kids risk their lives for something that isn't even their fault?" Jiraiya asked. "They didn't do anything to deserve this. They were cheated. Are we really gonna sit here and watch?" Tsunade looked to Jiraiya. What do you suppose we do? Our hands are kind of tied. Orochimaru looked at them both. I may have an idea. Sakura and Naruto were standing just outside of the installation. What appeared to be a single manhole cover was all that was covering the entrance to the underground facility. I don't sense any guards, Sakura stated, her eyes displaying the toad-like eyes that signified she was using Sage Mode. Naruto nodded and began to make his way down. Stop, Sakura said as she grabbed his collar. He looked back. She pointed in front of Naruto. At the base of a tree was a device that sent off an infrared beam. On the other side was a receiver. She spoke. It's an electronic tripwire. If you break the beam, the alarm goes off. They'll kill Sasuke. Naruto would also enter Sage Mode. Thanks, Sakura. I need to pay better attention. Naruto and Sakura bypassed the tripwire and kept an eye out for more traps. Once they were past, Sakura looked at the entrance to ensure that there was nothing to the entrance that could be a trap. Once she was sure, she carefully lifted the cover up, to which Naruto was surprised by her strength. Together, they made their way in. First things first, Sakura said. We need to find where they're keeping Sasuke. Best way to do that is to reach the control room. If we do that, we'll be able to find him anywhere in the building, as well as sabotage any traps. Naruto nodded. He looked around. There was a camera. How do we bypass that? Sakura asked. Naruto looked down. There was a graded floor below them that allowed them to look down into the lower levels. Naruto began to climb over the side. Sakura covered her mouth. She looked down. The drop was so far that she couldn't even see the bottom, but she could, however, see the next floor below them. Too bad that wasn't where they were going. Besides that, it was under too much surveillance. Naruto's fingers came up through the grating. Come on, he whispered as he began to slowly monkey bar his way over. Sakura hated this idea, but she did it as well. Don't look down, don't look down. Together they made their way to the other side. Once they were past the camera's field of vision, Naruto and Sakura hauled themselves back up and entered a long hallway. They passed by room after room. They looked at the map of the facility that Orochimaru had presented them. The control room was nearby. All they needed to do was get there undetected. They managed to make it to the control room where they knocked out the guard and began to look at the control panel. They located Sasuke and found a proper route to his cell. They began to deactivate the security system and blind any cameras to it. Once this was done, they left the room and made their way down in an elevator to the prison room. Sakura, utilizing the transformation jutsu, transformed into the Anbu agent they saw in the control room. She walked right past the guards and grabbed the key. She and Naruto made their way to Sasuke's cell and opened the door. Sasuke, they called in. They saw his Sharingan glowing in the darkness. I'm here, he whispered back. They made their way in and unlocked his bindings. He stood and they began to escort him out. They took the elevator back up to the top floor and began to make their escape. However, before they could get to the entrance, Anbu appear and surround them. From behind, Danzo walks up. Gutsy move on your part. Two desperate friends, willing to sacrifice it all, break into a secure facility just to rescue their friend. Brave, but foolish. And now you will all be executed for treason. That should serve as message enough to Lord Fifth on what it means to cross me. What it means to cross you? Another voice came. Team 7 looked back and saw Orochimaru coming. I'm not crossing you. I'm putting it all to an end. Danzo looked at him with confusion. Are you sure you want to be saying that? You know how very little power you have. Orochimaru nodded. I thought about that. What you said, what I know. And I came to realize that I did have power. The last thing I can do to protect my students. It's time that Konoha pay the piper, Danzo. Suddenly, an Anbu agent walked to Danzo and whispered in his ear. Why don't you let us all be informed, Danzo? A TV monitor was activated. The local news was on. An anonymous leak had been reported, and various case files Konoha had were presented to the news agency. This news spoke about Konoha's hand in the Uchiha massacre, as well as Orochimaru's part in human experiments. It confirmed the existence of Root to the general populace and exposed a secret shadow government within Konoha that tried to cover up Konoha's involvement in the destruction of the Uchiha clan. It implicated Danzo Shimura, Homura Mitokado, and Koharu Utatane as the masterminds behind the genocide. Just as this was said, Konoha's police force raided the facility with a warrant signed off by Orochimaru himself. The police force also possessed a warrant for the arrest of Danzo Shimura and ironically Orochimaru too, all of which were signed by Orochimaru. Backed up with more of Konoha's forces, the police force would arrest Danzo forcibly. Danzo was smart enough to realize that he couldn't get away. Sasuke stood there and watched what was going on. The Anbu forces surrendered without a fight, and Danzo was escorted out. Orochimaru was also escorted out in handcuffs. He stopped for only a moment. See, Sasuke? I told you I would help you get justice. All it took was focus. He was eventually escorted out as well. In the end, the Konoha Council was charged with conspiracy to commit mass genocide. Danzo himself was charged with 1 count of mass genocide, and Orochimaru was charged with multiple accounts of human experimentation which led to bodily harm and death. All groups were sentenced to life in prison. Now, of course, Orochimaru could have pardoned himself if he were still Hokage. Sad thing was, he resigned from his post just prior to his arrest to offer justice. He had done many horrible things in his life, and he was ready to pay for each of them. He wanted Konoha to maintain faith in its government though, which is why he also allowed himself to be imprisoned. He wanted to out all the darkness that had been festering under the surface. And because of this, to honor what Orochimaru had done, Sasuke considered Konoha's debt to the Uchiha paid. Sasuke himself was pardoned, and in return Tsunade was named the 6th Hokage in Orochimaru's place. All seemed well with the world, but sadly it wasn't. Outside the village, Tobi stood, looking out over the buildings. Black Zetsu appeared beside him. "I told you, you should have killed him when you had the chance." Tobi looked to the black glop that possessed a mouth and eyes. "Don't worry, Zetsu. Soon Konoha will fall, Sasuke will die, and both the One Tail and Nine Tails will be in our possession." And that's it for the time being, I think. I had an absolute blast writing this one. Orochimaru is always one of the most intriguing characters to write, and it's nice to write his character from a different perspective. It was interesting to see the political drama unfold as well, but in the end, the best part of this was Sasuke's return to the light. Honestly, this really was the best thing. Why destroy the entire village? Why kill the just with the unjust? If I were Sasuke, and I had a vendetta that demanded blood payment, why not just bring down the people actually responsible for the destruction of my clan? But I guess that's just me. What did you think though? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me what your favorite part was, and tell me what you might want to see in the next part. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Remember to ring the bell if you want to be notified when more content like this drops. Until next time, peace out.
Did you enjoy our video? Well then be sure to check out these other great videos from the Amagi, and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.